Hello, this is Aaron Curtis. I have breaking news for you. Zombies are real. I have a question for you to begin with. Is this a true zombie? Looks freaky, scary. In all reality, it is not. This is not what a zombie will look like. Uh, what is more than likely to be a real zombie are these. You can see we have humans on the left, ants on the right, both cases of zombieism. Moving on, zombie reports. We have reports from several professors, doctors. One, Jonathan D. Denman, who in this report cited here, claims that he thinks the virus that actually could create what is the zombie virus or zombieism already exists. And he believes that to be rabies. Rabies portrays many of the same or similar symptoms that as to what we see in popular TV shows and movies on zombies. You've got 28 Days Later, you've got Walking Dead, etc. In that it causes an irrational fear, rage, hyperactivity. It will it spreads through bites. It also will cause some degeneration of skin cells. This will give the person suffering from rabies that kind of muddish or almost yellowish tone to their skin, possibly causing wounds. And so it's very interesting. There are obviously some differences. Then Dr. Andransky, a virologist at the University of Miami's Miller School of Medicine, believes that if rabies and flus were to hybridize, or basically that rabies were to hybridize and take on some similar symptoms or characteristics of the flu virus, they present a very, very similar disease to what we see in the movies. Stated basically agreeing with Dr. Denman in that the symptoms would remain similar. However, mutating in that fashion would lessen the mortality rate of rabies potentially. It would increase the contactability of it, and would, in this case, like I said in the last sentence, it would make the disease potentially airborne. Now, zombie ants. What we've just talked about is a potentiality, very real case, but rabies is not terribly common. Unfortunately, I have a report of true zombie disease. This is not a virus. It's actually a parasite, a parasitic fungus that affects a specific breed of carpenter ants in Brazil. This fungus, through chemical manipulation, actually controls the ant's behavior, eventually causing the ant to kill itself. It will force the ant to become more aggressive, to fight and go against the rest of the colony, and exhibit many of the same characteristics that we see in a zombie in the movies. Eventually, what happens is it will actually crawl up a plant, latch onto the plant, and the ant will starve to death. It will kill itself. And at this point, you can see in the picture in the upper right-hand corner, this ant has horns growing out of its head. That's not what the ant looks like. Those horns with the growth on them is actually the fungus. This fungus attaches itself to the ant's brain and starts growing out of the ant, and then with this fungus leaving the ant's body, it spreads spores, infecting potentially many more ants. And this is very similar to zombieism in the movies. The blood gets in you through a cut, eating, and it could potentially affect you and turn you into a zombie. Interesting point there. Now, zombies aren't real in the fashion that we see them in the movies. They're not. Let's just be honest. If I get rabies and I get into a car crash, I'm not coming back. I'm not reanimating. Rabies isn't going to do that. Now, zombie-like symptoms from the flu rabies virus, or from rabies virus as is now, generally kills its host within a week of symptoms starting. Another similarity or excuse me, dissimilarity between what we see in the movies and TV shows and what would more than likely happen in actuality is that severe injuries to other parts of the human body will still be fatal. If I get shot in the heart and I have rabies, I'm still dying. In the movies, more often than not, injuries to other parts of the body really don't do much to the zombies. People with rabies or flu, although they may have diminished pain sensitivity, they are still going to feel pain. Then one other difference is that rabies has an incubation period of 10 days to a year, generally. Whereas in the shows, you can see World War Z, for example, it happened within a minute. Brad Pitt in the movie timed it. In other shows, it takes longer or shorter periods of time. Zombies could be and are actually real. This combo virus of combining rabies and flu spreads orally through bites. It causes rage, comparable to what we may see in 28 Days Later, the 28 Days movies. They start expressing very aggressive behavior. The virus will cause discoloration and potential wounds on the head and rest of the body. Due to joint pain, probably considered or due to dehydration, because rabies does give you an innate fear of water, you would have extreme joint pain, causing a potential lunging, slow walk, like what we see in a lot of zombie movies. Now, this last point is very important. The fungal infections that we talked about with the ants, many of the biologists studying these ants have come to a popular theory that all species actually have a specific type of fungi which could cause similar same symptoms as in the Brazilian carpenter ants. So be careful out there. There unfortunately is a fungi waiting for you to infect you and turn you into a zombie. Then there's the other possibility of getting rabies and turning into a zombie that way. However you look at it, zombies are real. They're out there. Be careful. Stay safe.